Of course, I had to make some sort of video in the vein of How to Train Your Dragon. I know a lot of people don't like the whole reimagining a classic animated movie as a live action movie, as a lot of people just see it as a lazy cash grab, but I'm actually one of those very few kinds of people that kind of enjoy them, even if it's only for the novel reason that I like seeing how other artists take things from animation and reinvent them for a live action format, even if, admittedly, the movies themselves may not be as entertaining or enduring as the original. So whenever anybody asks you, who are these movies made for, I guess you can point to me. But after seeing the trailer and being a little disappointed by the look that we got at this movie's version of the Book of Dragons, I started to get the itch again. I've had a surprising amount of people contact me all over the place asking if I sell a version of my Dragon manual replica from a really long time ago. And, well, I can say I'm flattered, although I can't say I do. One, because that project actually took me multiple months and I would have to charge way too much for it, but also because I'm questioning the legality of making a replica like that. I did still have the idea to make some sort of digital free version of the Dragon manual. This is actually something that I've been waiting to do for years now, and last week I said screw it and did a few pages just to get the idea out of my system. But now that I've started, I'm sort of pumped up about the idea because coming up with art and formatting the entries for these was actually really fun, almost like making my Pokedex entries. So for these two dragons that I did today, I'll show you what I've done so far, and at the end of the video you can let me know what you want to see with this whole idea. I started off with the Deadly Nadder. One, because it's one of my favorites, because it reminds me of my birds and the way that it moves around, but also because in that old Cartoon Network dragon taming game, or whatever it was, I remember the Deadly Nadder being the tutorial level, and so I guess that's why I associate it with a good start. With these designs, I want to design them as my realistic interpretation, but go hard into the style that I only half did with my Smoggest drawing challenge that I did a couple of years ago, and drawing them and writing about them as if I'm an in-universe Viking traveling around and documenting these real creatures. The main way I attempted to make the body look more realistic was by changing its proportions. Smaller head, wider base of the tail so that it could conceivably balance, and changing the width of the wing so that they could lift the creature, or at least look like they could. With the other details, I tried to stay as accurate as possible. I didn't want to make it too unrecognizable as a Deadly Nadder. I thought it would be a fun idea to give them more washed out colors to try to stay in this idea that I'm an ancient Viking drawing with these limited resources that they would have. I also decided to draw little diagrams and sketches of notable parts of the dragon, both to give inspiration to what I would write about, but also lend credence to the idea that this is some sort of field guide. The Deadly Nadder. A common yet ferocious beast, the Deadly Nadder is one of the greatest threats to Viking kind in this day. Armed with razor-sharp spines that they throw out from their whip-like tails with expert marksmanship, and great sparks that leap forth from their jaws, the Nadder has many dreadful weapons in its arsenal. The Nadder's most unique trait are the spines that grow from their tails, folded and layered when the beast rests. When roused to anger, the spines stand forth like the needles of a great spine, and with a swift flick of their tails, they can fling dozens of these spines at their targets. The breath weapon of a deadly Nadder is also formidable, yet, like the rest of the beast, also unique. Unlike most dragons, the Nadder appears not to have a gas bladder, as such has grown an overdeveloped set of flint-like incisors, allowing it to spit horrendous sparks at their foes. This insidious trait may appear less harmful than the raw firepower of other dragons, but be assured these sparks stick in clothes and trees and catch wind easily. Extremely dangerous. Kill on sight. The other one I did today was the Gronkle. I had the same artistic language in mind when I made it, to make the wings look as believable as possible. Although with the Gronkle, nothing would look super believable. And to give its body at least semi-real proportions, which I based loosely on a hippopotamus. I also decided that I would format this page like the one that we see in the movie. We don't get to see all of the pages in the Dragon Manual scene, as Hiccup hurriedly flips through, but we do get a couple of glimpses, one of them being at the left page of the Gronkle entry. So I formatted this to match the scene seen in the movie, and took the liberties that I deemed necessary with the right page. I also wanted to add as much of the real in-universe lore to the entries as possible. I did that with the Nadder, of course, with the spikes on its tail and it shooting sparks instead of actual fire. But with the Gronkle, there's a lot more of that, like with the way that it eats up rocks to digest in its stomach and spit back out as balls of magma. And how, if you remember in the movies, they said that the Gronkle has a shot limit of 6. Though this is sort of implied to be a trait with every dragon, and I might include it in other entries, I did want to add it into the entry here because it makes a lot of sense with its lore. The Gronkle is a great ugly beast with an armored hide as tough as iron. Their wings are barely wide enough to lift their bloated form, which is caused by their known habit of eating stones and boulders. They eat rocks and metal ores to fuel their breath weapon. Depending on what minerals they eat, the color, consistency, and intensity of their firepower can change. In areas where coal or magnesium are found in abundance, Gronkle attacks may be particularly destructive. The scales on their tails are long and blunt and can be used as a hammer in battle, as well as being protective plating. To attack, they spit up the contents of their stomach, which is a boiling soup of partially liquid rock. They fill their stomachs with the boulders that they find, grinding them up with their great teeth, and as such, they have a limited number of shots before they must eat more. Most Gronkle have a shot limit of 6, though it can vary depending on their size, age, and intensity of attack. Extremely dangerous. Kill on sight. So, what do you think? Could this project have potential? If anything, it was a very fun idea, which is only why I did 2, sort of as a proof of concept. I hope you all enjoyed watching this as much as I did making it, and hope listening to my terrible attempt at a Scottish accent wasn't too hard to listen to. So, it's up to you. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments below. Either way, I hope you're all as excited as I am for the live-action movie. Maybe we'll do more of this series as we get closer, but I'm going to keep this outro short as I'm doing some traveling this week, and I will need to get this video out as soon as possible because I can't be on my computer for very long. But as always, a special thanks to my patrons who are appearing on screen now and support the channel by making projects like this possible. If you would like to join them in their support, you can do so at the link in the description for as little as $3 a month. Thank you to all my patrons, and as always, thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, then leave a like, and if you want to see other videos like it, then subscribe, and turn on the bell to get notified when I upload next.